Welcome, Kabir and Ritama. I'm really excited to ask you a few questions about the upcoming Solar Plexus module. So, as it is a male chakra, I will start with you, Kabir. Could you share a bit with us what the Solar Plexus Chakra is about?
Well, I'll be very direct that the solar plexus for most of us is the center. It's a chakra that's running our life. And I say that because it's a doing chakra, it's a male chakra, it's a will, it's a proving. And especially in our modern world today, all of us are just so spun up and doing with the solar plexus that in a way, it's running our life and burning us out and taking us away from the deeper being. So we are all very much challenged to find, let's say, a healthy solar plexus versus an unhealthy solar plexus.
Wow, thank you, Kabir. I'm also curious, Ritama, how do you look at it from a female perspective?
Well, I think for me, the solar plexus is about expressing yourself. So first you need to find you, because very often you don't even know who you are. So getting a sense of your own self and then expressing it. We are so constantly worried, what are others thinking? How do they feel? That we have blocked ourselves. We don't live who we are. We don't just sing our own song, And for me, coming into the solar plexus means feeling that sense of self, of who you are, and expressing it.
I want to add to that. As you connect to the deeper solar plexus, the sense of being oneself is what emerges. And there's nothing more delicious than that, being in touch with yourself, holding yourself, coming from yourself, living yourself. But most of us are not living ourselves. We go what we call in front of ourselves. We are performing, proving, doing, trying to make a certain impression on other people. So we are going out of ourselves, and then no matter how satisfactory that outer might be, there's a deeper emptiness because we're not connected to our being. So that sense of being is what opens in the deep solar plexus.
Wow, when I hear you guys talk, it feels so wonderful. And I would love to hear more about how this work can give us that sense of self and connect us back to our being.
Yeah, this is about the module to go 5 days into the solar plexus. But I think what I want to say is that each solar plexus is very unique. And each person is going to need something different. Each one of us has unique challenges. So in the module, we have the time to come from different angles, so that each person can find themselves in it. Yeah. So let's say even our answers might be different, because my solar plexus is shaped different and I need different issues. Or let's say I have different issues, I need different solutions. And so is for Kabir. So we will give different answers. So what we're hoping is for you to identify how your solar plexus is built, what your themes are, what has been holding you back, so you can grow into it, heal it, and come into your full self.
And to add to that, there's a few things that each one of us needs to face or to address in the work with the solar plexus. And they're on two sides. The one side is the ways that we feel bad about ourselves. We give our power away. We've lost our self-worth. We feel ashamed of ourselves. So a part of us deep down feels this, oh, I'm no good, and there's like a collapseness. So we all then compensate, especially us men, by, well, I'm great, and look at me, and look at my car, and whatever. We prove but actually underneath that insecurity is there. And in the module, we look at it. That's one of the main pieces of work that we do, is to face one's shadow, one's darkness, one's insecurities, one's fears. And by facing them, suddenly what you made into a mountain becomes a little mouse. And suddenly you go through it and something deeper connects. But you have to be willing to face yourself.
Well, when I hear that, Kabir, that's one side of the coin. Yeah, the collapsedness that we all have, these insecurities. And at the same time, what I like about the atmosphere of this group is we starting to allow ourselves more space. We start to allow ourselves to do things that normally you don't dare to do. We start to allow yourself to be big, to expand, to be unapologetic about your power, about who you are. And that gives such a feeling of freedom, because we are all doing it. It's not like, oh, you're doing it, you feel bad. No, it's the whole atmosphere. It gives you the permission to be who you are, and in a way to find out your full potential.
And that's the magic of the solar plexus. Solar literally means sun, the sun plexus. There's something in every one of us that just wants to be big and to shine and to be just out there with our being. And the solar plexus module is really a support to take that step into being bright and being big. Yeah,
letting yourself shine. It's like nobody wants to shine because you think, oh, they're going to be jealous, we aren't allowed. And when you look at it in a way, I'm so surprised about everybody taking selfies, because everybody's so self-centered. In a way, everybody wants to be seen. But with selfies, you feel okay with it. In a way, it's just such a shallow part of you that you're showing through a selfie. So in a way, we support you to be courageous, to finally being able to really show you in your bigness.
And along with that, there's a beautiful expression in Japanese. They say the nail that stands up gets hammered down. And all of us have been hammered in 1,001 ways that we tend to want to shrink and be nice and be a chameleon and fit in. So a lot of the solar plexus is about standing up and taking your space. Oftentimes that means confrontation. Oftentimes that means rocking the boat. So it's a lot about coming into your power and your strength and having the courage to be you. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful feeling, but at the same time, it's a big, we say jumping off the high diving board, because you have to take a big jump to let that power come out, to let the lion roar inside.
When you're saying it, I feel it, and what I realize, how our love, our relationship has become so wonderful because of the solar plexus. Love is there, but if the power underneath is collapsed, it just doesn't feel the same, because the person in its fullness is not really there. So when a person comes into their full self, the love has then a whole nother full quality. And I feel that after all these steps that we have been making in our solar plexus, how our relationship has become so much more, let's say, healthy, loving, and so dynamic.
And what I really love with Ritama is such an empowered woman. She is so in her freedom, so in authenticity. But now I'm relating to a person that is themselves. She's not just a nice person. She's not just a mother. She's not just a wife. She's like herself. And because there's a self there, it is so juicy to relate to.
Well, thank you, Kabir.
I love it. And also along those lines, I want to say that a lot of relationships are struggling because they're too merged. The belly chakra is dependency. It kind of merges in, plugs in, loses oneself into the relationship. But then the solar plexus and the self is choked. It's not in its freedom. So strangely enough, as the solar plexus becomes empowered, you stand on your own. You stand as an individual in your own right. And in that individuality, there's more possibility for intimacy and connection than ever.
Yeah. So I think I also want to address, let's say we work from the basic level of power just to come into your power. And then we also work on a very high frequency of power, where that frequency is connected to your soul self. And what we find is ultimately that is where the biggest power rests. All of us also are so afraid to come into our power because we have misused power. We see power being misused, all around us, politics, you name it. So we feel like, oh, it's a bad thing. I don't want to go there. But in a way, what happens is you retreat from the world. You're not participating, so you're also not helping it get better. So in a way, you need to come into your power if you want to really participate, and support the earth in its evolution. The moment you connect your solar plexus to your higher self, a whole nother energy comes in where you feel like you can use your power in alignment, and in a way, your power then supports your love, your power supports your compassion, your power supports your purpose, and you start feeling like, wow, great, this is why I'm here on earth. Yeah? You get that deep satisfaction.
And just to add to that, we feel that the world is in a lot of struggle. And we feel that ultimately the problems in the world are due to human thinking and feeling and behavior. And the change that will happen in the world is going to be through us growing up, becoming more mature, becoming more intelligent, more creative, more loving, and then making that difference. So our work is both for each of us as individuals, but our work is very much our contribution to creating a world that we want to live in, that we love to live in, that we're proud to live in. And in that sense, to each person out there, come into your power, integrate it with your heart, align it with your higher intelligence, and then go out there and become a powerful force of change in the world. Make a difference.